Hello, this is Joseph Sparrow doing a guest talk review on Soledad O'Brien and her talk about entrepreneurship. So overall, the main thing that stood out to me about this talk was that how she presented entrepreneurship as something that's always evolving, something that always needs constant effort to get done, and also this is something that creates stability and opportunities for yourself that you need to look for and go after rather than just waiting on them. One of the first takeaways, one of the first quotes that she says is, you have to come up with a great idea every single day, and what you did yesterday, everyone would say, oh, that was amazing, but you can't live on that. You got to go out again and do it again, do it again. So this really kind of helped me change how I viewed entrepreneurship. We also learned throughout the semester that, sometimes being an entrepreneur, you do end up having to take some losses, but it's important for us to continue going out there and continue turning those fails into a success the best way that we can. I've already started to see this with my venture for Techies for Oldies. It's been really hard to kind of build up my momentum and build up kind of views to my MVP's page. With creating one idea when I first started thinking about doing something for Techies for Oldies, I just thought it would be easy just to meet people one-on-one to do some things, but then I realized, that might not always happen. That might not be the best case scenario. So it's good that I came up with other ideas about how to get some success for Tickets for Oldies. So that was the first, big thing I kind of found from this talk, building momentum. And I think that I can do that with Tickets for Oldies. The second quote I want to mention is quantity is critical, and you just have to do it every day. So that's a good thing to keep in mind. Some people look at quality over quantity, but since you're an entrepreneur, you may not have the time to, make sure things are to your liking. So it's important to know to kind of keep moving through it and, just work on the small things as you can. If you run into an issue, try to fix the issue very quickly. If you run into an issue, just ignore that issue and move on to something else. So just make sure you get your quantity done. It's important to grow as fast as you can, or maybe not as fast as you can, but it's also important to grow at a gradual pace. Third quote that I got from her guest talk today is, you got to just start where you are. Like if you wait till it's perfect and the lighting is great, just start. Literally just start. So that stood out to me because, I don't need to wait around until the time is right. If I take the opportunity and I see that the opportunity is coming, I need to go ahead and get going. For example, Tickets for Oldies, even just a small little session, I don't need to wait for people to sign up to do it. If I'm in a room with older adults that, all are having issues with some type of form of technology, it's important that I can just go ahead and just do it, on the fly, do a session on the fly. And that's actually happened to me, actually since I've started creating this MVPs, I've been at church before, I'm in a choir, and we've kind of been working on how to get the communications through to everybody through their phones, and a lot of the older people weren't familiar with what GroupMe was. So, after choir practice, I got together with about 5 to 10 older adults on the choir, and I went through step by step about how to download GroupMe and how to sign up for GroupMe and how to get the notifications on for that text message thread. So, that's kind of just start. I just went for it. I didn't wait for the perfect time to set up for anything. I just kind of went for it. The next quote I want to mention from Soledad's talk is, she mentioned, it's never good to work with somebody who doesn't see a vision for your future. So this applies to me because entrepreneurship to me will allow me to create my own path rather than waiting on someone to build those opportunities or present those opportunities to me. Sometimes when you try to work with other people to get things done, that typically creates issues in some sorts. You know, you have other people's ideas, or people don't agree with your ideas, or people think that their way is the best and you think your way is the best. So it's probably just always important to work by yourself. You know, sometimes a partnership or startup partnership is good, or maybe group work is good, but which if you have a set idea and you think that you can be successful being on your own, I think that you should do that. I think that's a very important thing to do. And also another thing I want to mention about that little section, instead of just waiting for somebody to give you your direction, say that if you're at work, or maybe you're doing this type of marketing assignment and you're waiting for like your boss to tell you something, or waiting for your team members to kind of wait to get together and do something. You know, it's important. Maybe you can go on your own and just try to get some things together, or maybe brainstorm on your own instead of having to wait for other people. Because you know, time is money, as they like to say. So just waiting for people or waiting for whatever can really mess up your bag. So just kind of get ready and go on and do it. Don't wait for anybody else. Um, so the next little section about, you know, responding to her talk is kind of the long-term goals that I would have for Techies for Oldies if and when I decide to continue on this venture, which I think I might do because I've actually had a lot of interest from the forums that I posted online. So I think that this might actually, on accident, end up being an actual business. So one quote I want to mention for the long-term section is, you need a really good idea, and then you need a team that can help you execute the good idea. So when I thought of Tickets for Oldies, I actually didn't think that it would actually go anywhere. Um, from one, just the surveys that I sent out for an earlier assignment in the class, you know, a lot of people didn't like the name, but it was 50-50. People thought it was a fun, cheeky name and actually would actually help people. So after I looked past the negative, I kind of realized, okay, I think I might have actually created something here, and I think that it can be successful. And I know that I mentioned earlier in the talk that, don't wait on anybody, or try not to be with anybody when you're doing a startup or trying to get your feet off the ground. But after you have successfully started and have successfully done some things and made some revenue, I think it's important that you kind of build a team. And I know that just for this semester, for one of our assignments about choosing your people that work with you in your MVP, I selected those people because I have worked with them in the past, and I know work, um, how their work structure is, and how they get things done, and how they do things. And it's important to kind of build yourself around great people and build your success around people. Once you've already successful, it can help build you up more. And you want to make sure you're with people that are on the same brain lengths as you, the same frequencies, so you kind of bounce off of each other's ideas. And so I think that for long-term success, especially if you want to grow with your company, it's good to be with other people to help bring you together some more, just to move on some more. Another quote I want to mention for the long-term success, what access do you have that I can't go to this production company with that great idea and just get it done? For me, with my venture, I think that makes me unique. It's more about building real connections than just working under a company or working under something. I think that, word of mouth would travel very well, very fast with my venture that I chose to do for Tickets for Oldies. It's a real issue, a real rising issue for older adults who don't know how to work technology, or don't know what to look for scams and stuff, or not sure what they need to do with certain online applications or stuff like that. So I think it's like, I don't need to work under like Best Buy. I don't need to work under Geek Squad. I don't need to work under all these other technology type things. I can just do it on my own and kind of get my feet off the ground. So I think that I don't need to have a big sponsorship or a big entity to kind of help me get going. The last quote I want to mention for this guest talk from Soledad is, she said, "It's so much more risky to put bad stuff out because it lives forever now." And that's actually a good thing, because especially in the world of cancel culture, people will cancel you at the drop of a dime if you say something wrong, or if you mess up somebody's gender pronouns or something like that, or if you have a flop product. It's gonna be more people look at the bad than they do look at the good. Like for example, when somebody makes, say for artists, I like singers, say when an artist puts out a bad album or a bad single and they end up flopping and it's not a success, people are gonna look at them as, never being successful again. On Stan Twitter, they have this thing called the Key Asylum. It's really stupid. They put artists in the Key Asylum who had one flop era or one flop album, and they won't let them out of that asylum because they think they're gonna flop for anything else that they do. And so that's just how I think, bad things do live on forever. People don't forget bad things. Like, you can spend your whole career. I know this is a really bad example, but Bill Cosby, he was a very popular celebrity back in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s, and he was very influential, especially with the Cosby Show, especially in the black community. But with all his allegations of sexual assault and rape and all that stuff that came out, and him being in jail, that really overshadowed what he accomplished and what he brought to the entertainment world. So yeah, I mean, even though that was a really, really bad thing, that just kind of shows you how no matter what, he's always going to be remembered as the nasty rapist, sexual assault guy that did all those things to those ladies, rather than the joy that he did bring to a generation growing up on TV, which is unfortunate, but he deserved what he got. So that's just my opinion. Overall, Soledad, her perspectives didn't really change much to me. I knew that, in entrepreneurship, we need to take risk and you need to just kind of do your own thing and not wait around for other people to tell you what to do. It's more about just building yourself up. So with that, I really do agree with what she said, and that idea really kind of stood out to me more than I already actually did. Because just to see someone who is so successful as she is and didn't wait around for anybody to kind of give her a boost and she kind of did her own thing, I think that's very inspiring, especially for a woman of color. That's very inspiring that she did what she needed to do and got shit done, basically. So I do think that I need to have that mentality if I ever want to step out and grow my venture beyond this class. I think that's just a really good mindset to be. And that's pretty much all I have. So that's just my response to the guest talk by Soledad O'Brien. Thank you.